Good morning. Hi, it's Miss Sheila, the story lady, and I am so very happy to be here with you today because we're going to have some stories. Now let's see who's here today. I'm going to look out here. I see Sam and Johnny and Sarah and Carol, and let's see, does that look like Jonathan back there? I don't know everyone's name, but maybe you can let me know your name sometimes. In any event, I am so happy that you are here with me today. So we're going to have some story. Who out there likes a good story? Raise your hand. Oh yeah, everybody loves a good story. But before we get started on the story, I want to show you this wonderful story box. Look at this. Can you believe anything so great? But I want you to look at all these little animals that are on it, and you tell me what all the little animals are doing. Let's think about it a minute. Look at the top too. Well, they're reading. That's what they're doing. Everybody likes to read. If you don't like to read, you might give it a chance because you will find you can go on all kinds of adventures. And what Miss Sheila does is she puts things in the story box to remind me of stories. Let's see what's in there right now. Well, let's see. There's an old sock. Could it be a story about a sock? Well, I guess so if it's in the story box. There's a jar of peanut butter. Who knew? And let's see, there's a little baby doll. That could be lots of different stories, couldn't it? But the one I want to tell, here's one about a camera, a story about a camera. But the one I want to tell today is all about an angel. An angel. Isn't she beautiful? Now, once upon a time, there was a little boy named Charlie Boy, and he was about 5 years old, and he asked his mama one morning, "Mama, are there angels in the world?" And she said, "Well, you know, there's lots of angels in the Bible. They talk about angels a lot, so I suspect there are angels in the world." And he said, "I'm going to find one. In fact, I'm going to look for an angel today." And she said, "Well, okay, how are you going to do that?" And he said, "I'm going to run down the road and see if I can't find an angel." And she said, "I'll go with you." And he said, "No, Mama, I don't want you to go with me because you can't keep up." You see, just 2 days before, Charlie Boy's mama had fallen down a little set of 3 stairs and she hurt her ankle real bad. Now, she didn't break it, but boy, it swelled up real huge and it hurt like the devil. And she put ice on it and it got better, but she was still limping around and certainly could not walk very fast. And Charlie Boy said, "You can't keep up with me." And she said, "Oh, I think I can do my best and it'll be all right. Plus, I need to get out and get a little exercise." So off they went down the country road looking for angels. Charlie Boy was skipping and running and hopping about. Oh, he was a little bit ahead of his mama because she was walking along slowly because of her ankle. When he spotted a car that had pulled over to the side, the woman was on the phone, he could see, and that was probably why she had pulled over, because you were not supposed to talk on your cell phone when you were trying to drive a car. The car itself was just so beautiful. Charlie didn't think he'd ever seen a car that beautiful. It was a convertible, you know, one of those cars where you put the top down. It was a beautiful day, and the top was down, and the car itself was a bright red, shiny color. It was just the prettiest car he had ever seen. And the woman inside, she was just as beautiful. She had long blonde hair that went flowing down her back, had a lot of curls around her face. She had on a beautiful satin dress and furs all around her neck, even though it was a warm day. He thought she surely must be an angel. So he ran over to the car and he put his hands on the side and he said, "Are you an angel?" And she turned to him with a scowl on her face and she said, "Get away from here, little boy. you're putting your dirty handprints all over my beautiful car. Now get away, get away, get away. And she jammed down on the accelerator and went zooming off down the road. And when she did, there was a great cloud of dust came up and completely enveloped Charlie boy. And he was coughing and sputtering, he couldn't see and he couldn't catch his breath, and it was a terrible situation. And just about then, his mama caught up with him. She took her gingham apron and she brushed the dust out of his eyes and she dried his tears and she held him close. And Charlie said, "That was no angel, Mama." And she said, "Well, you might be right." He said, "I'm still going to find an angel," and off they went back down the road. Well, they'd just gone a little ways, and of course Charlie is quite a bit in front of his mama, when he sees this beautiful young girl. She was just a picture of beauty. Her skin was white as the snow, and she had the rosiest cheeks, and she had long dark hair that was almost to her waist, and well, you could tell it had been brushed and brushed and brushed because it was shiny, shiny as could be. She had a little barrette holding it back out of her eyes, and she was just beautiful. She was wearing a white dress, it was almost to the floor, and she was thin and tall and just beautiful. And he ran up to her and said, "Are you an angel?" And she said, "Oh, you dear, dear little boy, come here and let me see you." And she gathered him up to her, and she held him close and said, "Why would you think I am an angel?" And before he could even answer, she looked over his shoulder down the road, and here was her boyfriend coming. And she got all excited, and she pushed Charlie down, and she just shoved him down to the ground and said, "Get off of me, little boy, and look what you've done. You've put your dirty handprints all over my dress, you've mussed my hair all up. Get away, get away, get away." And she ran off down the road to meet her boyfriend. Charlie boy was in a heap in the dust, and he was crying and crying and crying, and his mama had caught up with him then. She knelt down by him and she took the end of her apron and she wiped his tears away and got the dust all off of his face. And Charlie said, "Mama, she was not an angel." And his mama said, "Well, Charlie, she may be one day. She's awfully young yet." And Charlie said, "I'm so tired, Mama. Can we go home now?" And she said, "Of course we can." And he said, "Will you carry me because I am so, so tired?" And so his mama picked him up and he nestled down on her shoulder and she started walking home. And as she walked, she began to sing a little tune. It was a favorite tune of Charlie's. It was the one she sang to him all the time when she was putting him to sleep. And suddenly he looked up from her shoulder. He put his hands on both sides of her face and said, "Mama, are you an angel? Do you suppose you are an angel?" And she said, "I don't know about that, Charlie, but there are angels all over the world." And that's the story of Charlie boy and the angels, and I love that little story. It's good to visualize Charlie trying to hunt for an angel, and that is what he did. Well, I'm going to put this down, and then we'll look in the box again and see what we find. Now, it's good to know